Alright my dear friends, today I will show you how to get a better deal on a car from CRAIGSLIST. Well, a little bit about me. I have been buying and selling cars for almost 10 years now off of CRAIGSLIST, and over the years I have came across with lots and lots of people, the deals, and all those experiences throughout the years I thought I should share with you guys. Here we go. Without wasting further time, what you want to do, you will go here where it says cars and trucks. Sorry, it selected everything. Just where it says cars and trucks. So you click on that. You come up to this place. And here you will see lots and lots of cars, but how do we know which ones to go for, how to sort this out? I will go through everything from A to Z. But first things first, the two rules that I have is never to buy from a dealer, because you can never get a good deal from a dealer. So we're going to remove the dealers and we're just going to look cars those are directly from the owners. So we will click right here. If you look on the top left corner, it says owner. We click on owner, and now all the cars you see are only from the owners who have posted their personal vehicles. That's the rule number one. Rule number two is when you finalize the deal, or before finalizing the deal, when you are looking at the car, you must have a mechanic with you. But we'll get into it later. Always avoid buying from a dealer. The reason is that because those guys are pros and they know how to make a profit on it. And the pros, you can never get a good deal with them. That being said, let's jump on to finding a good deal. Well, whenever you are going out to buy a car, buying a new car, it's simple if you have the money, because you know what you want. You will go to the dealer and you will finalize the paperwork, and there you have it. But when you are in the used car market, it's a bit of a tricky situation. So what happens in the used car market, you never know what vehicles are going to be posted every minute, every hour, or the day. So you would really have to have certain things in mind that what you want to go for. For many people, whenever you're going for a used car, budget is the number one priority, because you get a cheap car for a lot less than what you would pay at a dealer or for a brand new car. So budget is the number one thing. Second of all, what kind of vehicle you want. You know, some people might just prefer an SUV, or some people might be looking for a sedan or a hatchback, because these searches are very simple to find. I mean, if you are looking for SUVs, there's plenty of options to get an SUV or a sedan or even a small car. When you actually go, if you want like a particular car, let's say you want an Audi A4 2004, and then it becomes a tricky situation because it's not from a dealer and it's not from an inventory, it's from a person. So if somebody's selling that, you will see it. But if somebody's not selling it, then you are out of luck. For today's search, I will give you a general idea what I usually do. I want to get a vehicle which is better in value as an investment. So let's say if I buy a vehicle today and down the road, maybe in a few months or in a year or 2 years or 5 years, whenever I'm going to sell it, of course it will depreciate in the value. If it's going to be depreciating, we want to get something where we will lose the least amount of money. Second, where we're going to have the least amount of maintenances, looking at the brand, the models, record, and where we're also not going to be spending much, because if we are gonna pay too much in the beginning, then it's also not a deal. So three things we're gonna keep in mind. First, down the road costs should be minimum. Second, the track record for that car should be good. It should not be model which had known problems or which have known problems. And third, we don't want to pay too much for any car. We want to pay the least amount possible. So this is our today's search is, and I will be telling you if it's the right price, asking price, or if not. So here we go. So let's begin. So now we are in the owner. So currently we're not going to be messing with any of the filters. We're just gonna go by whatever we have right here. Now looking at this, see, the first car is a 2005 Mazda 3. And by the way, the price and whatever we're going to decide today is based on what the posting is suggesting us or what the owner have listed, because it's not always the owner lists everything. That is why I told you in the beginning that you have to have a mechanic, and that's when it happens, the negotiation part and further determining of the value. But looking at the current, whatever the owner mentions, so we have to make our decisions that, okay, if this car is worth negotiating, it looks good, we can pursue, we can, invest our time to make a deal for this car. So that's really important. So this is what we're going to sort out and discuss that, what I think about the car and if you want to get this kind of car or not. So looking at this 2005 Mazda 3, and the seller is asking for $5,000. This car has 175,000 miles. Mazdas are good cars, but they are no Toyota, they're no Honda. So 175,000 miles is way too many for this car. And it says 2005 black sedan, electric windows, sunroof. I mean, everything that he's listed is good. Believing at what he says, even if everything is working fine on this car, the mileage is way too much for the asking price. For this car, I would probably go half of that, maybe $2,500, somewhere around that. That would be the starting point. Since he's asking too much, we're not even going to bother to, negotiate or make a deal, because this car is not going to be valuable too, because it already has too many miles. It's an economy car. It's a 2005 model, so it's not a deal. It's even, now we come to 2009 Ford Escape. The asking price is almost $9,000. It's a 2009 model. Mileage is 87,000. By the way, always make sure if the title is clean or rebuilt or salvaged, because it impacts the car's quality, the car's price drastically. If the car is rebuilt or salvaged, that means that car have been in a damage where the insurance company declared that car as totaled, which that means is it's going to cost more to fix what that car's value is. So that's insurance companies. And once you see a title that is salvaged or that is rebuilt, don't even bother to look at those cars unless you're really crunching on money and you really want something very cheap. So I will make another episode about that too, and how you can get a good deal with rebuilt or salvaged titles. So looking at this car right now, it says one owner, very good thing. It's always better to have a car with single owner, because that means is that that person bought this car brand new and he kept that car. And whoever buys a brand new car, they tend to take care of that car much better than somebody who's going to buy a used car from somebody else. So it's always an advantage to have a one owner car. Looking at this car, it looks a very decent car. It's also a hybrid. So this is actually a point to be noted. What hybrid cars have, they have batteries, and the batteries go old. And when it times to change those batteries, they are very expensive. Let's see if he has mentioned something about the battery or not. So you're looking at a sweet SUV that looks, drive amazing, great, call tomorrow. Okay, so he hasn't listed anything about batteries. I mean, this is another thing. If somebody had a brand new battery, or if it's a recently changed battery, usually people put this because it's a great selling point. Since he has not listed it, I will assume it does not have a new battery, and asking price is way too much, so it's not even worth considering in any way, shape, or so we're gonna skip that. I'm not going for really old cars today. If you are really looking at Mercedes, like a classic Mercedes or classic cars, then you can go for it. But looking at 92, we're not even gonna touch it, because today, we're trying to get a best car possible for the cheapest price, not heavy on the wallet in the future, altogether a round-up good car for as a daily driver. So now we come to a 2002 Mercedes-Benz. Price is very low, $2,000. But mind you, Mercedes are very notorious for having expensive maintenances. I mean, let me give you an example. Like, let's say if you are in the market trying to buy BMW or Mercedes 2010 model or a Toyota Camry, you will get a Toyota Camry for more than a Mercedes or a BMW. The reason is because after certain time, which is about at least 100,000 miles, the maintenance racks up. BMW and Mercedes have expensive parts, and after 100,000 miles, things start to wear off, and car needs a much more constant regular maintenance than otherwise it would before 100,000 miles. So that's why most of the BMW and Mercedes owners, they sell their cars before hitting 100,000 mark. And that's why you will see lots of people buying used luxury cars because they're cheap. But mind you, if you are going to use that as a daily driver, it's not going to be cheap in the long run or even in the short run, because you're going to be spending so much more on their maintenance. You will lose so much money. So now let's look at this car. So it's asking $2,000 and it's a Mercedes. And how many miles? See, it hasn't listed how many miles. This is a no-no. I mean, this is the basic thing. If somebody's not even listing how many miles this car has, it's not even worth looking at it. So first thing is, if somebody's really genuinely wants to sell a genuine vehicle, they will list all the basic things about the vehicle. It's at least the mileage, the title, the condition of the car, if it has any flaws or not. But if you're missing some of that thing, then it's not worth pursuing, because definitely there's something that they don't want to show. So I'm guessing this car will have a higher mileage. That's why if it had a decent or lower mileage, he would have listed that. I mean, this is my experience telling. Every time whenever I have approached the listings where they have hidden or not listed the mileage and the price is pretty low, that usually means they have a really, really high mileage car in which they didn't want to advertise to scare off the buyers. Now we come to Honda Accord Coupe EXL, top of the line, low mileage, 40k miles. This sounds like a good deal, but let's look at it. It's a 2014 model, 42,000, clean, top of the line, V6 engine, premium package. Bought this car from the dealer 5 years ago. I have used it minimally, was stored in a garage, approximately 8,000 miles per year. It's in excellent condition, looks new, it has never been in an accident, maintained perfectly, and all the paperwork. Everything looks nice. Now let's look at it from the inside and the car. Okay, it has a colored screen, has good infotainment system. So this car looks good. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something about the Hondas and Toyotas. Hondas and Toyotas have the highest resale value than any vehicle in the world because of their reliability, because of their cheap cost of ownership, and because of their longevity. Like, these cars, if you take good care of these cars, they never die. So if you want to get something that's reliable, and that is why sometimes people don't mind paying a little bit more for a Honda or a Toyota if they are planning to keep it for a long time, because that's for certain that that car will last for a long time with minimal issues. But looking at this price, $17,995. This Honda Accord, I mean, it's a good car, but it's not worth $18,000 after it's a 6-year-old car and he's asking for $18,000. That's way too much. If I were to ask the cost of this car, it would be probably, the fair cost would be about $10,000 to $11,000, or on a higher end, $11,500. That would be the maximum price for this car that I would pay. I mean, of course, when you negotiate with the seller, then it's a different story that you really have to know how to negotiate, and I will make the video about this also another time. But this is a very too much price asking for this car, because this price is like, you can get a brand new Toyota close to this price. So it's not, and for a used car, no, $18,000 for a used Honda, that's a way too much price. Although it's a good car, but price is way too much. Now here comes the Mini Cooper, 2010 Mini Cooper. Okay, asking $6,500, clean title. You can see right here, odometer, 115,000 miles. Decent miles. I would consider it's low to medium miles. It's not very low, it's not very high. Another thing actually to be noted, that it's very good that whenever seller mentions their VIN number, it becomes so crucial that, let's say if you decide, okay, I'm gonna try to make a deal with this car, so you contact the seller and then you run the VIN number and get the Carfax of this car, or any like a vehicle history, whichever software you want to use. Personally, I don't believe that the vehicle history has everything. I mean, it's always better to have as much information as possible for any vehicle you're trying to get, because it's an expensive purchase. So as I said, having a mechanic is good, but having VIN details and having a car history is extremely important. It can tell you that if the car was a salvage, rebuilt, or it was in a major accident, or insurance company declared something about this car, or it was a stolen car, or it had any recalls on that car, and how safe it is, specs of that car, everything. Like, even if you just want to check these specs, okay, I want to check if this car has an ABS system, or if this car has rain sensing wipers. I mean, if you pull up vehicle history report, it will tell you all that information. So you don't have to Google and type in the model number to see, okay, what are the specs of this car and all that. So that makes it a lot easier. So looking at this car now, so it says an excellent shape, clean title, no accidents, everything working, no engine or transmission problems, good, AC size cold. Okay, so it looks like it's in decent shape. Mind you, another thing, Mini Cooper is related to BMWs, so they have the BMWs engineering in them. What that means, these are good cars, but they are kind of expensive to repair as well. And since it's a 2010 model with 115,000, 6,500 is a bit too much for this car. To be fair, as like if the buyer says whatever he's saying, that there's no problems upon making a deal, like upon inspecting the vehicle, there's no problems found, then I would say the fair price for this vehicle should be 4,000 or a little bit under it, or somewhere around it, and that's more than fair. Actually, even in fact, offer about from 3,000, and I'm sure that the buyer will not even consider that, because he's asking 6,500, which is, again, it's also outrageous. So this is also the factor to consider a deal. If the buyer is asking a very outrageous price, then it's better to leave that deal, because you might end up wasting your time, because buyer won't be interested in listening to your fair offer. We're gonna leave this deal. It's not something he's asking a fair price. By the way, just now, I don't know if it's still listed or not, few minutes ago, in fact a couple of hours ago, I saw a Jaguar here, which I thought was an outstanding deal. Let me see if that's still available. There you go. Okay, so this is the deal I saw, just like, oh my god, I mean, I want to buy this car. See, it's a 2012 Jaguar XF series. The person is asking $8,500. Now, let me tell you before I show you anything, this car has 77,900 miles. Okay, there's one secret I want to tell you guys too whenever you're considering buying a car. So this car, Jaguars, usually are bought by people. I'm not generalizing it, but like a guy who's, you know, working a 9-to-5 job, he's not gonna go for a newer Jaguar showroom to buy it. You know what I mean? It's like people who are like, you know, a little bit older, you know, people who have kind of their status, and it's kind of a more status symbol and just kind of more like a luxurious symbol. Some people do buy it, but mostly it's not. So this is definitely looking like it, you know, looking at the background here, that it looks like it's in a nice area, and looking at the condition and the asking price, that means the person is neither that person is desperate nor he needs a lot of money. So he's selling this car and he's asking a very fair price for this car. Now let me show you the condition of this car. It looks almost as if it came out of a showroom. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, it's so clean. Look at the seats. Look at this. It looks like almost came out of a showroom, and he's asking only for $8,500. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be skeptical about the price. That's what I said. You should always have a mechanic check the car before you make a deal. But looking at everything, and my instincts are telling me that this is a very, very good deal. It's an 8-cylinder Jaguar. It's only 77,000 miles and it's in immaculate condition. And for $8,500, it's a steal. I mean, I've looked up the cost of this car for 2012, this model, for this many mileage. You would, if you were going for a dealer, you would easily pay somewhere from $16,000 all the way to $23,000, $24,000. So it's seriously a very, very good deal. And I'm just kind of drooling over it. Like, it looks so amazing. Look at the interior. I mean, look at this, how pristine this is. The wooden finish, the infotainment system. Oh, personally, I love tan interiors. I mean, tan leather interior. See, I'm not a guy like who goes for a leather. I'm not gonna go for a brand new car and buy a leather. I don't like animals being killed for the luxury. And if it's a pleather, it's great. But I like this texture. It could be a plastic texture, but tan plastic texture with wooden finish like this all over. Look at the steering wheel and everything. It just looks expensive and it looks finished. It shows quality in that. So I just wanted to show you guys. I mean, this is the good deal. If you are looking for a car, if you see this and if you have the budget, and you can buy this car, you can drive it for maybe 10,000 miles or so, and you can still sell this car for this much or maybe more. So this car, if what it is, then it's a good investment, and it's very hard to find these kind of deals here. So now let's go back to our previous deals. All right, Craigslist, we're not looking for Jaguars anymore. Okay, so now I just refreshed it. So by the time we were, looking, remember this Mazda? That was the first car. Since then, these many cars have been posted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's why you have to keep an eye. Another thing, if you are shopping for a car and if you really want to get a good deal, you have to keep an eye. I mean, you really have to keep on refreshing it and be on a lookout. Spend some time to look for a car. Now I'm looking for this, let's look at this 2012 BMW 650i convertible. Looks great. See, it has 97,000 miles right before it's hitting the 100,000 mile. You will see most BMWs, most luxury cars, people will be selling it for 97,300. That guy drove it without any issues, and I'm sure it's gonna be in immaculate condition right now. Any repaired product, I would suggest to move away from it unless you are really getting a good deal. See, that means this engine was installed new. What happens, like, something that comes out of a factory and then something that had a major repairs done on, it's not the same thing. It loses that pristineness. And I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. If it was 10, it could still be like 9.999% the same car. But again, it's just that it's not as it was supposed to be. Now it has a different engine and a car. If you are getting a really good deal, by all means, I mean, we will consider this car. But since he's asking for $25,000 and has 97,300 miles, it's like a Sportster with not a hard top, so that actually downgrades the value just a bit, because hard tops have a much more value than cloth tops. And since it has a new engine, it's not even worth considering. It's high price. It's a BMW 100,000 miles, so it will be a money pit if you buy this car. 1988 Suzuki Samurai JX5 Speed 3,000. See, I think you got the idea, and this is how you shop for the cars. If you have any questions about any particular cars, about buying cars, anything, shoot me here. Consider subscribing it if you haven't yet. Literally ask me any questions about cars, purchasing, and anything about it, and I will try to answer those questions with the best of my knowledge. So again, I want to thank you everybody for being here with me today, and I hope if you are out in the market shopping for a car, I hope you get the best deal possible and come back here, watch more videos. All right, see you later guys. Take care. Bye-bye.